And Brandon Valjalo made history at the Tokyo Games when he became the first South African skater to compete at the Olympics, as skateboarding made its debut. Now, he was one of 3 South African skaters, but was the only one who participated in the street event. Now equipped with some key learnings from his 18th place finish at his first Olympic Games, Brandon prepares to take on the streets of Paris and now joins me via Zoom from Los Angeles, USA. Brandon, thank you so much for making time for us here on the AM Reports. I'm pretty sure it's not the morning there in the USA, but as you prepare for the Paris Games, tell us a bit more about what you're doing in Los Angeles and how that's going to help you to set up for the big Olympics.
Hi guys, thank you so much for having me, and you are correct, it is not the AM over here in California. It is actually almost 11 p.m. at night, but yeah, I'm over here training at the moment, just working on my confidence and also getting into an environment which the conditions are super similar to what I can expect in Paris. It's currently summer over here, so that means the conditions are going to be similar to what I can expect there. And I've also got the best facilities here from skate parks and also the Red Bull High Performance Center, which I've been working really closely with professionals from strength and conditioning, nutrition, and also mental health performance. So everything to get me ready to just be confident to take that next step forward, to go into the games with that confidence I need to be able to execute all the practice I've been putting in behind the scenes.
And why is it important for one to acclimatize and perhaps train under similar conditions when preparing for a major event like this?
Well, at the moment, South Africa is cold, so I'm told. So for me, being in winter conditions and skating in that environment is completely different from what I could expect in Paris, especially to the conditions of when I wax obstacles and skating. In the heat, the wax tends to melt when you start waxing the obstacles, and it's a whole different sensation of how smooth it glides down the hubbers and down the rails. And in the street section, that's what we're looking at. And for me, being in an environment where I can kind of replicate the same environment that I'm going to experience at the Olympics is the best thing for me to mentally prepare going into the games.
And I love how you're going into the technicalities of skating, because for a viewer at home, they might be thinking, well, we thought it was just as simple as picking up a skateboard and moving. What makes street skateboarding so different from your conventional skateboarding?
So street skateboarding is quite interesting because it's actually based around factors of the natural environment that you would find in cities. So looking at a normal obstacle for people when they're walking downstairs, they see a handrail to help them walk down the stairs safely. But for me, from my perspective, I look at that handrail and say, wow, what trick can I do on this rail? So when it comes down to it, street skateboarding is beautiful because you can do it anywhere. You can go out. It's your natural environment, and it's just about being creative as possible and going out there and doing your best and challenging yourself when it comes to the fear aspects, because every time you roll up, it's different, whether it's your speed going into it, whether it's the wind that's affecting you. There's so many moving factors at the same time that you need to take into consideration. So training in an environment that you can be as comfortable as possible and that you can replicate that environment will only help you that much more in your confidence going into it. Because for me, skateboarding is pretty much 99.9% confidence and just love, because at the end of the day, we all focus on progression. And even if I wasn't going out there and doing this every single day, I would still challenge myself to be the best version of myself on my board in the moments that I get to spend on it. So yeah, that's what makes skateboarding and street skateboarding beautiful.
And you sound like somebody who lives and breathes skateboarding. And it all started with you and your brother's skateboard at the age of 3. Take us through what it is that drew you to the sport. Some say it's the creativity. Others say perhaps it might have been somebody that inspired you. What is it that made you decide to make a career out of skateboarding?
So yes, for me, it was definitely being inspired by my older brother, Sheldon. He has always been a role model for me, and looking up to him, he was always that guy that skated, and I just thought he was the coolest dude ever. And for me, I just wanted to be like him. So on odd days, whenever we could go out, I'd see him skating and he was able to do kickflips, and I was just like, wow. And the moment I started challenging myself to learn that kickflip, it took a couple of years, but I ended up jumping on a trampoline and eventually got it right because I was too heavy on my shoulders and turning my shoulders front facing when you kind of have to keep your shoulders parallel to your board. So for me, it was pretty challenging at first, but once I was able to learn how to kickflip, I was pretty much hooked. And that became my hobby. And just for me, skateboarding's always been fun. It's always been a place that I could escape my own reality and actually create my own reality, which made it so beautiful. And it's definitely more than a sport. It's also a lifestyle. We live and we breathe skateboarding. So for me, it comes down to just being passionate about progressing and just being the best version of myself, and freedom of expression at the end of the day. That's what hooked me to skateboarding.
Let's look ahead then to what you can expect in Paris 2024. Tokyo didn't go exactly as planned. You went to the event. You were the only South African that participated, but with a broken wrist. What are some of the lessons that you took from your performance in Tokyo, from the entire experience, that you look to apply now in Paris?
So for me, I went into Tokyo really serious and really focused. And I know that it was the debut of skateboarding, and I was pretty hard on myself when it came down to everything. I kind of was in an environment where it was like, okay, like I broke my wrist, but I don't need my wrist to skate. You know, I only need my legs to work. So for me, going into this next one, I realized in the moments that I was living in Tokyo, I was like, damn, I'm actually going to miss these moments. And I'm living my dream and I'm inspiring so many people. Instead of being so hard on myself when I realized I wasn't going to make the finals or get that medal that I'd set for myself, I ended up was like, okay, let me just be present and enjoy these moments, because I know I'm currently living in them, but I'm going to miss them once they're over. And the moment I started having fun and letting my personality come out, that's kind of where the state of flow started coming through. And I started performing better. So for me, going into this one, it's all about having fun, and also going into it with that mindset of I've been doing this every single day for the past few years since Tokyo. And for me, going into it, if I can recreate that environment of having fun, I'll get the best possible performance out of myself. But then also another exciting factor for me is that this time there's going to be a crowd, there's going to be an atmosphere. And for me, being the person that I am, I like to entertain. So I'm really excited to go out there and entertain, and also have my family and my friends over there to support me at the Olympics. It's quite an exciting time for me, and I'm going into it super positive.
And I can hear the excitement from your voice, Brandon, and wishing you all the best as you prepare for the Paris Olympics. Just before I let you go, though, just a quick question that we're running on our poll around the friendliness of South Africans. You're quite well traveled. You're in LA at the moment. You've traveled many countries in the world. Do you believe South Africans are the friendliest country in the world? And what would you say makes us such a warm nation?
So I would definitely say that we are the friendliest people. We definitely like to talk the most. And we are a very diverse country. So I feel like everybody comes from different walks of life, and we all want to hear each other's stories, because we know we all have a background and we all have a story to tell, and we all have a story to find out from the opposing person that we might be conversating with. So when it comes down to it, South Africans are super open, super happy, and super talkative. And that's what comes down to just being able to communicate with other people. There's so many people that speak English around the world, and just being able to share the diversity of our country and the culture from South Africa to the rest of the world makes us super interesting. And people definitely gravitate towards the energy that South Africans give off. It's definitely a feeling of unity and a good feeling of Ubuntu. That's all I can bring it down to is one word: Ubuntu.
Ubuntu indeed, and we're looking forward to you hoisting that South African flag up high in France as you prepare to represent the country. Thank you so much for your time, Brandon, and again, wishing you all the best. Quick one, how do people follow you and your journey in terms of Instagram as I let you go?
Thank you guys so much. You can follow me on Instagram at brands_Valjalo, or I guess TikTok is the new platform that everyone's using. You can just search my name at Brandon Valjalo.